Have you ever seen a miracle and just asked yourself, God, why? In this series, we're going to explore what if the miracles weren't just supernatural acts of power, but actually lessons for us today. What if there's more to these stories than meets the eye? Let's dive in. Healing the leper. When Jesus saw a man with leprosy, he reached out, touched him, and said, I want to. This went against everything that Levitical law taught. Lepers were considered unclean and untouchable, but Jesus not only touched him, he made him clean. What does this tell us? It shows us that nothing, not even leprosy, can keep us away from God's touch. If you're struggling with feeling separated from God or believing, you're beyond His love. And forgiveness, remember the cleansing power of His touch. Don't stay away. Come close. Water into wine. At a wedding in Cana, Mary tells Jesus that they're out of wine. Instead of just saying, hey, we got an issue, Jesus turns water into wine. He didn't do a quick sleight of hand trick. He took ordinary water and made it extraordinary. What does this tell us? God pays attention to the small things. He doesn't just care about the big, important moments. He's interested in every aspect of our lives, the good times and the little details. So don't think that anything is too insignificant to bother God about. He wants to be involved in every part of your life. Healing Jairus' daughter. When a religious leader named Jairus heard that Jesus was there, he begged him to come heal his daughter, who was at the point of death. Jesus went with him, but on the way, they were interrupted by a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years. Jairus probably thought, come on, God, I waited 12 years for this opportunity. Don't delay now. But Jesus took his time, healed the woman, and then went to raise his daughter from the dead. What does this tell us? There's a reason why Jesus stopped and helped the woman, and it's revealed when he reaches his daughter. Too late, she was dead. But instead of scolding Jairus for interrupting him, he says, don't be afraid, only believe. Jesus was showing Jairus that Shabbat was made for the people so they could take rest, not for rules and rituals. And in the same way, he wants us to know that death is not the end, but a transition to eternal life. And with faith, we can cross over into that new life. He then raises her from the dead. Only believe. Feeding the 5,000. When Jesus finished teaching a crowd of people, he noticed that it was getting late, and his disciples told him to send the crowds away so they could buy food. But Jesus said, you don't need to send them away. Give them something to eat. They only had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, but Jesus took what they had, looked up to heaven and blessed it. Then he broke the bread, gave it to the disciples, and they shared it with everyone there. What does this tell us? After the feeding, 4 baskets of leftovers were collected. The miracle wasn't just about the food. It was about showing that when we surrender what we have, no matter how small it seems, God can multiply it and use it abundantly. Walking on water. When the disciples were in a boat on the Sea of Galilee with Jesus, a storm came and they were struggling to stay afloat. Suddenly, Jesus walked toward them on the water, and they were terrified. But Jesus said, it's me. Don't be afraid. Peter calls out to him and asks Jesus to tell him to walk on the water. And Jesus says, come. As Peter steps out of the boat, he begins to sink. But Jesus quickly grabs him and says, you little one, why did you doubt? What does this tell us? We're called to step out of the boat and walk on the water with Jesus, but we must keep our eyes on him, our faith strong and doubt-free. When we doubt, we sink. Healing the centurion's son. A Roman officer heard about Jesus and went to see him. He explained that his son was very sick and asked Jesus to come and heal him. Jesus agreed to go with him, but before they arrived at his house, the centurion sent friends to tell him, Lord, I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof, but just say the word, and my servant will be healed. What does this tell us? Jesus was amazed by the centurion's faith. Not only did the centurion believe that Jesus could heal his son, but he trusted him enough to let his word alone be the healing power. Even though he was an outsider and a sinner, his faith was stronger than many of the religious people of that time. Raising Lazarus. Jesus loved a man named Lazarus, but one day he heard that Lazarus was sick. Instead of going to see him right away, Jesus stayed where he was for 2 more days. By the time he finally arrived at Lazarus' house, his friend was already dead. People had come to comfort Lazarus' family, but Jesus told them, "Take away the stone." When they did, he cried out, "Lazarus, come out." And amazingly, Lazarus came out, wrapped in the burial cloth. What does this tell us? Death couldn't hold Lazarus because Jesus had the power over it. This miracle showed not only Jesus' authority, but also the compassion he has for the dead and the hope he offers to the grieving. As we look at these amazing miracles of Jesus, let's remember that each one reveals a bit more of his heart: compassion, provision, authority, and hope. Now I want to ask you, which miracle speaks to you the most? Is there a situation in your life right now where you need God's touch, his provision, his strength, or his hope? Share with us in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and click the bell so you never miss any of our videos. God bless you all.